Back to news first. Guam's robust response to the dengue fever infection earned kudos last night at an informational briefing parents, teachers, and staff turned out to get the latest on dengue and the efforts to control and mitigate infected mosquitoes. Let's take a look. Just because the dengue virus is here on Guam doesn't mean that it will be present in the future. A representative from the CDC was quick to share Guam's efforts in combating the virus so that dengue does not become endemic to the island. At the informational briefing, stakeholders posed various questions in hopes of gaining clarity on the dengue infection. One question posed by the public stemmed off of the old adage, what came first, the chicken or the egg? The CDC says that it is far more plausible that the emergence of dengue on the island was brought on by a person who contracted the virus elsewhere and came to Guam, where the individual then got bit by a local mosquito, triggering the infection of local mosquitoes. Now that it is here, Guam has taken a united front in their approach by educating island residents about reducing the prevalence of mosquitoes around their homes. This raised the question, is the dengue virus transmittable to mosquito larvae through the laying of eggs by an infected mosquito?
Generally for dengue, they find that that's not the case. And so for the most, it's not the case. That being said, our world is a big world and there's no, nothing's absolute, right? So they have found in very rare instances, once in a while it might transmit to the eggs, but for the most part it doesn't.
Another parent question, what is being done to isolate the patients that are infected? This was answered by our island's Magahaga, Lulian Guerrero, who also served as a nurse.
In previous discussions with other experts on dengue fever, the way to isolate them is just to tell them, like the doctor said, is avoid getting bitten by the mosquito. And if you have your symptoms, your signs and symptoms of dengue, stay in the house, don't go out till you are without the fever. And then that's when you're considered non-contagious.
But this is not because you will infect the person next to you. Instead, it's to avoid infecting other mosquitoes. She says government resources are being used to clear debris in areas deemed high risk, educating the public and bringing in experts to help respond to the infection. Serious concerns were raised as just last month there was no dengue virus on island. And in a matter of weeks, the number of confirmed cases has risen to 7, with high-risk areas being named to include Manila, Oro Chalampago, and Dededo, and also with the government advising residents to expect more cases of infection. But this is not the first time Guam has had a dengue scare. PNC posed a question as it related to the first scare 75 years ago, asking whether or not the government and military were exploring the use of military aircraft to spray the island, and whether or not that would be effective in combating the infection.
I can say that Guam has been in discussion with CDC entomologists at both at dengue branch in Fort Collins, or in San Juan, the CDC dengue branch, as well as entomologists from CDC's Division of Vector-Borne Diseases out of Fort Collins, discussing options on what is the best way to really try to reduce and limit the spread of infection. And in those discussions, all options are being evaluated and considered. At this point, I don't think that there's been a decision that would be an option.
Meanwhile, the CDC has issued a Level 1 travel watch for Guam, which means travelers should take usual precautions, including the avoidance of mosquitoes. Saipan has also issued a travel advisory for Guam due to the ongoing dengue outbreak. In other news, legislation that strengthens the island's beautification task force is seen as very timely in light of the dengue outbreak on Guam. Senator Kelly Marsh Taitino introduced Bill 150-35, which brings together agency stakeholders to create long-term plans on preventing illegal waste disposal and the destruction of public facilities. It also adds a representative from the Mayor's Council to the task force to improve efforts at the village level. Nick Lee, the spokesman of the Guam EPA, mentioned that timely discussion of the proposed legislation during a public hearing this morning.
know that now the lieutenant governor is EIBT. Now we're also upon this dengue issue, where we're encouraging the public to clean up around their homes and their businesses. We know that illegal dump sites have cumulative impacts, and we've often spoke about vector control, and some of these sites now serve as breeding sites. So I think this is coming at an opportune time to get awareness out.
Lee also said manpower continues to be one of the challenges faced by the task force in accomplishing its responsibilities. He said another legislation, Bill 148-35, could provide a solution, since the measure seeks to allow DOC inmates to get work credit for assisting with labor-intensive beautification projects. In other news, GTA has announced the launching of its new Youth Leader program for school year 2019-2020, and they're calling on all digital-savvy high school students to apply and avail of the incredible benefits of becoming a youth leader. The aim of the program is to showcase young leaders that shine in sports, in the arts, or create positive change in their communities while excelling in academics. Youth leaders will represent GTA in person and at youth events and social media platforms. Students must meet criteria to qualify. If selected, each student will receive complimentary GTA mobile phone service and any latest Android or iPhone for 1 academic year, $2,000 in tuition scholarship money, and 100,000 mileage points to compete in approved competitions. GTA's Zane Matthias and Michelle Cadahay-Perez elaborate on how students may utilize these benefits.
Yeah, so we saw that it was a need, and then we also saw that there was a lot of sports competitions that it could benefit, but we want to open it bigger and actually offer the mileage for culinary competitions, for like lodging and tourism competitions, and that's why we wanted to offer the mileage.
For us to allow them to have a phone for the academic year, it allows them to really show positive behaviors, and that's really what we're trying to promote. Is there's so many negative news out in the public that there's so many good too that our teenagers and our youth really can showcase, and this is really what we're hoping with this program.
2 lucky students will be selected based on a 30-second video submission and a letter of recommendation. Applicants can send their submissions to prsquad@gta.net. The deadline is next Monday, September 30th. 37 years after its initial publication, the author of one of the most widely read books about the Chamorro experience during the Second World War has revisited the story that not only taught him about his history, but brought him home. PNC's Amanda Dedicatoria has more.
Chris Perez Howard was only 1 year old when the first Japanese plane cut through Guam's sky. During the following 4 years, he was under the care of a mother whom he could only remember through his memories of being held and nurtured until she was eventually killed near the end of the war. After spending decades growing up in his father's home state of Indiana, Howard felt the need to trace his steps to not only learn the story of his mother, but himself, through writing a book called Mariquita. Named after his mother, Mariquita follows the story of her experience before, during, and after the war. Describing the novel as the most difficult project he's ever undertaken, Howard has published a revised edition called Mariquita Revisited, which now features more details, photos, and actual letters written by Mariquita and her loved ones. During his research for the book, Howard came across an interview with a news magazine that gave him an idea of what kind of person his mother was.
She was also very vocal in questioning why civics weren't taught in school. So she saw already at that time there was a difference, and that she saw that difference. And I feel that in my own activism is that I'm also voicing similar things that she voiced a long time ago.
With this being the final version of Mariquita's story, Howard hopes to encourage his readers to not only reflect about their personal identity, but to learn the stories of those who came before them. which is why the proceeds made from the sale of the novel will be used to fund the Mariquita novel series, a collection of stories about the Chamorro experience.
No more, a finished product. Nothing else has to be done to it. And I'm so happy that it's finished.
Amanda Dedicatoria, PNC News.
The book will be launched this Wednesday, September 25th at 5:30 p.m. in the University of Guam's Micronesia Area Research Center. Well, September is Suicide Prevention Awareness Month, and to bring attention to the issue, a theater company will be holding a performance revolving around mental health and healing. PNC's Amanda Dedicatoria again with this report.
Consisting of various locally written works, the Breaking Wave Theater Company's Unspoken, a mental health anthology, explores its theme with 3 approaches. The first part of the performance is called Let's Talk, and is a collection of letters and scenes that discuss mental health from the teenage perspective. The second part, Community Speaks, is a short series of locally written monologues, poems, and songs. And based on a true story, the show's third part, On the Inside, is a musical by Joyce Torres and CJ Ochoco, which chronicles the story of an 18-year-old college freshman named Isa, who ends up in a mental health facility after an attempted suicide. During her stay, Isa meets other patients suffering from different mental conditions and challenges who share their stories with her. And from her experience, she finds hope and encouragement. On the Inside includes 8 original songs and is one of the few original musicals written and performed on Guam. According to Joyce Torres, the musical's co-writer, the show is an opportunity to let people know that they aren't alone in their struggles.
It's a great bag of emotions, but I think it's so wonderful what happens when we open it up and people get to speak about them for the first time. I think it's so beautiful and so moving.
According to CJ Ochoco, the show's producer, Unspoken is the theater company's way of giving back to the community and uniting artists for social causes.
You know, we grow up in a culture here where it's like, right, the mamala culture.
You get mamala, you don't want to talk about it.
We're ashamed to talk about our problems, but talking about your problems is the first step of healing. Yeah. And I think that's the message we want to get out here. And so we want, you know, this show, it's meant to start a conversation.
Know that I'm here for the good, the bad, the sad, the lonely. Know that I'm here whenever you make me a friend. Know that I'm here. You can push as much as we don't want to. Know that I'm here. Please know that I'm here for you.
Amanda Dedicatoria, PNC News.
Unspoken will be showing this Thursday to Saturday, 7 p.m. at UOG's Fine Arts Theater and 2 p.m. on Sunday. General admission tickets are $15. Students and seniors tickets are $10 and free for UOG students with an ID. Weather and sports are ahead, so don't go anywhere. Destiny Cruz, take it away.
Happy day, Marianas. Welcome to your 3-day weather forecast. I'm Destiny Cruz, and thanks for tuning in. Today we had yet another sunny and rainy day as partly sunny skies and isolated showers and thunderstorms prevailed this morning, while scattered showers and thunderstorms hit by the afternoon. Breezy southwest winds blew throughout the island at 5 to 10 miles per hour, while highs rose to 88 degrees. As we move into the evening, we can expect mostly cloudy skies accompanied by isolated showers and thunderstorms. Light and variable winds are expected to cool things down, while lows near a comfortable 78 degrees. Jumping ahead to Wednesday and Thursday, we can expect gloomier weather as mostly cloudy skies are expected on both days. Isolated showers and thunderstorms are expected as highs during the day reach around 88 degrees and lows in the evening reach 78. And that wraps up today's weather report. Have a great evening and be sure to tune in next time for more updates. Adios.